Back everyone, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that lovely brutal OST as we returned with the second half of the broadcast. We're back here with Rongyi Cup Season 3, playoffs day number 3. Let's go, baby, let's go. We just wrapped up with the upper semifinals and Hero took down Solar 3-1 to advance on to the grand finals. Meanwhile, we'll see if who will join him. Will it be a PvP or PvT finals? Bearing in mind that the finals will be taking place tomorrow evening in just over 24 hours time. Whether it's going to be Maru or Trigger to join Hero, we're here to find out. We're jumping to game 1. Game 1 is going to be on the Old Republic. Let's go. Let us go. As we were kind of alluding to and getting into previously before the break, again, coming into this, you know, I don't think many people expected Trigger to make it this far. Like, everyone was looking at Clem to go far and to make it to the finals, to maybe even finally play against Maru. God damn it. That's the thing. Clem versus Maru, that's all we want for years now. We just never get it back. We never get it. Smurge. It was meant to, it was prophesized to happen here in Rongyi Cup, but even then, it just doesn't happen. Feels bad, man. But here we go. Spawning in the right-hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the red Terran representing Team Vitality. It is Maru. And spawning in the bottom-hand corner, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing Basilisk. It is a Trigger. Here we go as Trigger does move out immediately here with his probe, does veer off towards the right hand side, and we'll see how he sets up as we are expecting a proxy gateway, proxy pylon here out of Trigger. So far, cheeky start. Yeah, cheeky start here from our Canadian Protoss. What I was going to say coming into this series is I do recommend checking out the VODs. If you missed out on Clem versus Trigger in the quarterfinals, I do recommend it. But in that series, it was very mid-game focused. We saw that Clem more often than not went for economic builds. He was going for economic openers and economic builds and was building up in towards that mid-game, except for the ace match where Clem did attempt an all-in, did attempt and fail to be hyper-aggressive. But again, it was typically a lot more mid-game play. Meanwhile, I do expect to see a lot more all-ins out of Maru, so this is a great way to start the series with a proxy 4-gate. We have 2 gateways across the map. We have 1 gateway back at home. So sorry, 3 gates set up here by Trigger. Hyper committed, hyper aggressive. He's gonna double down, and what a way to kind of start things off and kind of set the pace, set the scene for what is going to be this series, this best of 5. Let's go. Especially in a series where we expect to see Maru going for all-ins, right? Like, I do expect to see like a bunch of all-ins here to Maru, like twice, maybe even 3 times in this best of 5. So just turn the tables here is going to be a great start here for Trigger if this works out, of course. Here we go. Gateways are finishing, Cyber Core is now done, and we're going for the initial double Stalker. Double Chrono here on both Stalkers. We have the Adept rallying from across the map, also another Chrono on set Adept. Oh, he scouts! No, Maru, he scouts, he checks, he confirms what's going on. Maru, he cancels the CC immediately, cancels the CC, gets a refund, throws down the bunker on the high ground. Now, so far, good reaction, but doesn't matter. Is this good enough? Because the Stalkers are already here. Stalkers, they've already arrived. They push forward, nice KDA charge, delaying the Stalkers. Bunker is halfway done, but can the bunker even finish? Remember, there's 1 Marine, 1 Reaper, another Marine's on the way. The boys are being pulled. Yeah, he has to pull the boys. Bunker's going to be delayed. But you can see instantly here the boy pulled to start off that bunker. Ooh, the Stalkers are being choked up, and Maru holds. Yeah, Maru, he will hold on. The bunker does complete. Kills one of the Stalkers. Ay, that should not have happened. Kills the Stalker, bunker completes, and Maru he holds. And this is a rough start for Trigger. This is a big commitment, a big investment, and so far it has not paid for itself. He's getting his own base, getting his own natural, but likewise so is Maru. Maru's getting a CC on the high ground. Trigger, he needs more damage. Again, this all came down to the scout. It all came down to Maru checking, Maru scouting. He was able to get that bunker up in time. Nice pickups here as Trigger does pick up a couple of SCVs. Not bad. Does catch 2 SCVs. Deeper taking a little hits. At the same time, Reaper does get into the main, but Trigger does have a Stalker. Does have a Stalker back home to defend. That depot is going to go down. Oh no! Ooh. And Trigger does get a full scout off. Confirms the CC, confirms the second Rax. That second Rax is potentially indicative of a 2-base all-in. We'll see if Maru goes for another Rax before the starport. Eyes are on Maru. But so far, this is a better start for the Terran. so far. Better start for Maru. As he already has his first tank. Cyclone is coming in to reinforce. As Maru, he's set up on the high ground. Trigger trying to get into his own upgrades, getting to charge. I do like this. So charge is ideal if you expect that your opponent's going to all-in you. Like charge is built to just shut down tank all-ins and tank pushes. And Maru, he is getting ready to move out. It is going to be a 2-on-1 follow-up, no third racks. He's going for his starports, getting on top of the gateways. We'll depower both. And we'll see if Trigger can survive this. Again, assuming that Maru's going to push. Maru, he brings his army together. Let's go to his 2 tanks. Iggy is on the way for +1. And Maru, does he just chill? Oh. If he just chills and if he turtles up instead, then this is going to be favoring the Terran. I would have said that Trigger's best chance would be if Maru pushed. But no, he's chilling back at home. He's chilling back. Working on stim, working on +1. And Trigger, he has a ways to go here. He's working towards charge, that's true. But as we mentioned before, like going into Zealots like this, you can see he's messing up his Zealots. This was meant to engage with an army, right? This is meant to engage with Maru pushing in. Trigger start is late. So late third base, late economy. Even going for the Temple Archives before the expansion. So a very delayed third. And Trigger, he now gets eyes on the army. He now sees. Oh, he gets spotted. No! Observer gets spotted. Third base is now finally on the way. And again, this is just a very shaky start here for Trigger. Bearing in mind as well that on this map, whoever has map control has a massive advantage. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th bases are a lot more exposed and vulnerable. And we're expecting Maru to be the one with map control. Scans, he sees everything. He sees a mass charge and the storm. So he's aware of the unit composition. He's aware of the tech. Double drop on the right hand side. Maru's pushing. And this move out is going to hit with stim. Stim is now finishing up. Trigger, he's distracted by what should be the main army. Maru, he pokes out, he pulls back. And the drop is slipping by. Go boosting into the main. Does boost in. Trigger racing back home. Does go for the recall, and Trigger should hold. It should be able to hold on here. Maru, he commits to the fight. Leaves out a good amount of his bio. And Marines go down. Raven does get away. It's just a little bit greedy there for Maru to commit as hard as he did. And the game will continue. From here, Maru, he's establishing his 3rd base. We have the Ghost Cabinet finishing up. Getting the Academy. Building up into those ghosts. And we'll see if Trigger can break Maru before he can get into ghost production. The ghosts are still on the way. Storms are coming. Storms are coming in. Ooh, does graze the army. Observer gets spotted. A Trigger is making his way towards the 3rd. Alright, either wants to drive the army over. Very nice storm. Storm lands. But Trigger, he cannot engage. The tanks are on the high ground. And Maru, he will only lose 3 SCVs. 3 SCVs go down. From this point, Trigger, he needs a 4th. He needs a 4th base. There it is. It's on the way. I still do favor Maru's position. He's up in supply. He's up in economy. At least until the 4th kicks in. And the ghosts have now arrived. So he's got his ghosts, he's got his EMPs. Attempted storm jump. Ooh. It's deflected. And we're gonna settle in. We're settling into a longer game. Now, as much as I was talking about how we expected Maru to be very aggressive and all in this series, I mean, obviously the start of the game did kind of dictate the pace and did kind of shift all the gears. But Maru, he's very, very fond of longer, later play as well. You could argue that he's the best. He's the best when it comes to late game TVZ and TvP. Maru, he's very fond and very willing to just slow the game down to a crawl, throw down 5 CCs, a wall up, wall off, and just embrace a long turtle game. This is where Maru and Clem differ. Clem, he's a little more active. He's a little more active, a little more aggressive in the mid game. In all 3 matchups. True, true. Whereas if you give Maru the opportunity, like, he will just fully wall up. La tortuga, papi. True. Maru's an old man, can't compare with a kid. I mean, you could say that, but Maru was always like this. Like, the reputation that Maru has of just being very, very turtle heavy, like, has been around for many, many years. Like, it's... Well, I say many years, like, in my mind, at least, like, COVID era, like, at least 2020 onwards, maybe 2019 onwards. At least COVID era. But true, true. Old man, bad. Look, I still remember like the 3-hour series that he had with Dark. Like, on oh. As Mines they pop up, they shut down the High Templar. We had attempted storm flanks. Sure, you're going to try to engage. Again, there is an opening. You can see here the low ground CC is very exposed. It's very open. Base out the mine shots. Oh, but sure, he cannot commit. He gets punished. He gets bullied by the tanks. The tanks force him back. The storms do not connect. And if you're in the chat, now is the time to put the kettle on, you know, start some tea, start some coffee, get some snacks. Why is that? We have 4 CCs on the way. Like, as we mentioned, like, Maru, he is very, very willing to just embrace a longer game. So he throws down 4 CCs, storm zones, planetary goes down, gets a planetary, and maybe a couple of these bases. Gets 1, gets 2, that's a kill. Oh, it's a kill, not a cancel. Ghost, they do land 1 EMP. Yeah, lands an EMP. Now, before I get ahead of myself about the game slowing down, the win condition for Trigger, deny the 4th. If he can keep doing this, if he can deny the 4th base time and time again, then he can keep Maru's bank low. He can keep it low and then trade in efficiently and out trade Maru. Nice snipe, one of the ghosts. And again, Trigger, he cannot back off. He cannot back off. He has to just keep going. He dives in. Does force a lift. Storm of the Vikings. Yeah, the Vikings that stormed, and it looks like Trigger, does he have enough? Barely not. Yeah, too many Vikings. They focus on the Colossus, one after the other. Trigger, he runs out of storms. The army is so battered, though, so bruised, so heavily overstimmed. Trigger, he's so close. Can he break him? Oh my god. I think he may have. I think he may have. Trigger, he needs one more warp in. He's so close. Casito, papi, casito. Meanwhile, Maru, he saturates the 4th base. Planetary has now begun. Oh, never mind. Okay. So back to what I said before. Strap yourselves in. The Trigger, he was so close to ending the game early and to breaking Maru, but alas, do you see what I see? Outside of Zealot Rumbys and some of pressure here. Prism is denied. Zealots they push in, but Maru's in position. And Trigger throws down 2 Stargates. 2 Stargates and a Fleet Beacon. Trigger, he's getting ready for Sky Toss. So basically, seeing all these Stargates tells us that Trigger, he admits that he cannot kill. He admits that he cannot kill this base. He cannot kill Maru. It's not going to work. So Trigger's getting ready for the late game. But again, he came close. Nice Zealot run by. Zealot takes him into the bases. Trigger, he rotates over towards the top side to deny the 5th. Denies the 5th base. Picks off a couple of SCVs. Pushing further in. And even though Trigger isn't really doing anything, dealing any kind of devastating damage, he's only throwing away Zealots, right? He's only throwing away Zealots, it's fine. He's not losing anything meaningful. Tempests are amassing as we speak. Building up this Tempest. Jesus, that's a lot of freedom. And this is why you need Tempest. Like, against this many Liberators, you need those Tempests to slowly pick away at that lib count. To pick away at this siege position here of Maru. Speaking of, we do blink under. Oh. Gets 1. Gets 2. 2 Liberators go down. Trigger still being very active. So we have more Tempest building up. The Viking count is actually very low. Only 1 Viking? Oh, okay. The Viking count was reset earlier, and now these Colossus, they can pop off. Bearing in mind, the Starports have been making nothing but Liberators. Nothing but Libs. So very low Viking counts. Tempests have arrived. Final Viking goes down. And immediately Maru starts making Vikings again. Starts off those Vikings, but the Tempests are getting picked up. Nice pick up with the Tempest. Storm of the army. Oh my god, he runs through the storms. Oh no! Yeah, massive storms. Despite that, we collapse on the Colossus. Maru, he gets 1, he gets 2 Colossi. Nice juggling towards the end. And with this warp in, Trigger, he can keep going. Yeah, he can keep going, can keep pushing. The Trigger. Zealot run by, kills 5 SCVs. Oh, looks like there was a bit of a pause. Hopefully everything's okay. As again, this Tempest switch here from Trigger, it's doing so well for himself just because there were no Vikings, right? There were no Vikings. Maru, he was not ready. He was not ready for the Tempest. Even now only has 2 Vikings down to 1. 1 Viking left. Trying to make as many as he can. Again, Trigger not missing a beat. Still taking more bases, getting more expansions. We have DTs warping in as well. Trigger, oh, does get EMP'd. Massive EMP on the Tempest. There are too many Vikings. Maru, he's going in. He's going in. He's got, what, 5 Vikings left. Gets another Tempest. Maru holds. Yeah, Maru, he does hold on. Trigger, he overextends. Ay, ay, ay. Things were looking decent for Trigger, and then we saw just a massive EMP. A massive EMP landed. Covered all the Tempests. At the same time, DTs, they do get into the natural. Nice run by, nice damage. 13 SCV kills. Planetary is exposed. Maru's out of position. He's racing on over, and can Trigger kill that Planetary? It's close. Yeah, it's getting very close here, but it looks like Trigger, he may lose everything. Gets the base, but at a cost. As the Tempest get hunted down one after the other, a couple of Stalkers get away. And that was an expensive trade for Trigger, even rallying a Tempest. No, the missed rally. Rallies into the army. We're getting messy. Oh. I mean, nice big OC with the DTs. They trade well. Maru attempts to take another expansion, but hey, the DTs here to punish these SCVs. He's punishing. 5 SCVs go down. Trigger, he's now aware of the would-be base. Ooh, the Zealot round by is a little bit too soon. Yeah, too soon. On the one hand, Trigger, he is killing bases. He is denying some of the economy, but these have been expensive losses here for Trigger, as he's lost so many Tempest. He's lost 9 Tempest, 8 Colossus. These have been some rough fights. Maru has the superior army. Yeah, he's got his Death Ball. He's got his Death Ball here. He can just stim and win. Takes down another expansion. Trigger, he's down to 1 Colossus and 1 High Templar. EMP lands. Yeah, no detection. No detection, so the Ghost was just free to EMP. Snipes the High Templar, no Storm. And Maru's going for the kill. He's going for the kill. The boys are being pulled. Trigger getting desperate, but alas, he just cannot keep up. Cannot hold on. And with that, Maru, he has done it. Forcing his way further in. At the same time, we do have a Zealot round by, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The Death Ball has arrived. Yeah, pushes into the main base, going for the tech. The gateways, the robos, the everything. Back at home, there are plenty of reinforcements, so Maru, he does eventually defend. Trigger warping in whatever he can. Yeah, Waldo's in with a Dark Templar, but there's a scan. And even though Maru's going to kill the main base and Maru has the massive army lead, this was still a very close game. This was still very close and very tense. Again, the Tempest transition was on point. Just took some really rough fights. You know, just took some really, really rough fights. Triggered it. I mean, GG gets called, and Maru, he will take a lead in the series. He will take game number 1. Whew, GG. GG, well played. But even before the Tempest switch, even before that, when Trigger was attacking the 4th base, if you recall, those fights were very, very close. You saw how heavily overstimmed Maru was. The entire army was deep in the red. Maru, he barely defended his 4th location, just barely. That was the moment where Trigger he made the decision to switch into Tempest. And again, it was a really fast decision as well. This is one of the criticisms that I typically have of Protoss players, whether it's Classic, whether it's Hero, whether it's Max Packs. A lot of these guys often, they have a hard time making that decision to switch into Skytoss. Like it's very often they kind of stay and they kind of stick with it with a gateway composition to try to end the game and try to out harass and try to overwhelm, and at a certain point it kind of becomes clear that it's not going to work, but they stick with it. Like at times they can be a little bit stubborn. So I really do enjoy the timing here of the switch from Trigger. It worked well. I mean, hey, even Maru was caught off guard. He had like 2 Vikings, so he was caught off guard, but again, unfortunately, took some rough fights, and in the end, EMPs landed. Maru took over. GG, well played. With that, we're going to be getting into game 2. Going to be loading into Tourmaline, a much smaller map this time. Much smaller map. We're expecting earlier engagements, earlier aggression. Let's go. Let us go. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Tourmaline, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Team Vitality, leading the series 1-0. It is Maru. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Protoss player, the blue Protoss himself representing Basilisk. It is a Trigger. Go. I think 2020, but mostly TVZ, if I recall correctly. Yeah, for sure. But I do agree, Tuppin, that the more turtle heavy play from Maru was more renowned against Zerg, for sure, for sure. But that's also because TvP was very different, right? It was there was a very different dynamic in turn versus Protoss. The meta was different, I should say. Is moon speed boost to high tempo a good idea so the storms can get positioned without a prism? Oh, I feel like you have to be very careful with that. Yeah, I feel like you do have to be very careful with that. I don't think... I don't necessarily think it's necessary. Obviously, I think you're referring to the moment when Trigger, he pushed in when he engaged at the 4th base and his War Prism got sniped, if you recall. But that was a little bit on Trigger because he just rallied the Prism in and he wasn't really too attentive to it. So like that was kind of a big blunder from Trigger's side. Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit scary buffing High Templar in such a way just because in a lot of matchups, like, you're meant to eventually switch out, like especially in TvP, like switching into disruptors because of the strength of EMPs is standard. It is very standard. Obviously we didn't see that last game, we didn't see that last in game 1. It's typically kind of like the route you want to take, just because of that EMP counterplay. So yeah, I don't know, I feel like mobility is just really powerful and you have to be really careful with that sort of thing. Gotta be careful. Oh, as we have an economic opener. Okay, economic start here by Maru going for a faster CC on the low ground, and Maru, he's hoping to try to punish Trigger by going for a Marauder follow-up. Okay, so we have Concussive Shell Marauders behind this, potentially into 3 CC 3 racks. Oh, just going for the 3 racks. Okay, Marauder into 3 racks. Hyper aggressive follow-up here. It's 2020 once again. Let's go. We saw this build a lot on Side Delta, if you recall, a couple of years ago. That was what, like in 2020, 2021. Trigger moves out with the Stalker, and oh, he spots. Good reaction. Quick reaction. Trigger, as soon as he saw the Marauder, he got the hell out of there. He pulls away, he does pull out. Meanwhile, did I say 3 racks? 4 racks. Oof, okay, we're going to be even more committed here. A 4 racks, this is going to be a 2 base all-in. 2 base all-in, Stim timing. Stim is on the way, Mass Buy was on the way. If you remember, this used to be really, really trendy back when Stargate openers were more common, right? Opening up Stargate and going for Phoenix Colossus, you would be vulnerable to these early Stim timings and to these all-ins. That was back when Protoss players were opening up Phoenixes more often. Yeah, Phoenix Colossus was a dark time. DTs, okay. This is the way to defend. Trigger, he goes in. Trigger, he does confirm the Marauders, and there is a high chance that there's like a 2-on-1 or a 3-racks follow-up. True. There's a high chance that it's going to be very biocentric. That is standard after a Marauder-based opener, and Trigger is going for DTs. Now, why are DTs really good in this position? Against an all-in, Maru, he's going to be muling. He's going to be muling as much as possible because he needs as many resources as he can to be able to facilitate for this timing attack. So scans, I mean, saving energy for scans is not going to be as likely, and he only has 2 orbitals. There's no 3rd CC. So Maru, he should have limited scans, and Trigger, he might be able to shut this down. We'll see. Now we have some energy in the main. Dark Shrine is almost done. Trigger does have that proxy. And Maru, he does mule. He did just mule. There's about to be energy here at the natural. And does he mule? Here come the Dark Templar. Yeah, he pulls the boys. Yeah, he does pull the boys again. 2 base all in. He's holding onto a scan. Now, I was talking about defensive DTs. We need them back at home as well. There we go. He scouts. Yeah, he does scout. There's the first scan. First scan does land. We need more DTs. We need more Dark Templar. Oh no. This one DT across the map isn't doing anything. We have to come back home. Come back. Or attack or anything. We have 1 defensive DT, but there's a second scan. And Maru, he's done it. Yeah, Maru, he has done it. DT gets across the map. These DTs are a waste. Like, they're not really going to achieve too much here. We need a defensive DTs, Pappy. Now we're warping 1 in. Now the boys are being pulled, but we're doing critical damage here. So many probes go down. There's a scan. And Maru, he's done it. Maru, he's done it. He breaks the main base. There was potential with the DTs, but only if they were used defensively. Alas, in the end, Maru, he had enough scans. And he shuts us down. Shuts us down. GG gets called, and Maru, he will take a 2-0 lead in the series. GG. Whew, GG, well played. A much faster game number 2 here. Unfortunately, Trigger didn't know what was going on. Trigger, there was no hallucination scout, there was no observer scout or anything like that, so that's why Trigger had so little to defend back at home. He was blindly going into his DTs, and too late did realize that Maru was pulling the boys and going for an all-in himself. Again, he never got into the main base, he never did scout the 4 racks. Never saw the 4 racks. GG. GG, well played. Again, he did just commit a little bit too hard to harassing across the map. Likewise, you do have to stagger your DTs defensively to force out those scans, to ideally have your opponent run out of scans and then be able to deal with that army, but yeah, too little too late. GG. GG, well played. Now with that, we're getting into game 3, potentially the final game of the series. Again, I do feel like Trigger's strengths are in the mid game and the mid to late game, but can he get there? Can he get there? Let's go. Let's find out. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the red Terran representing Team Vitality. It is Maru. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player, the Canadian Protoss representing Basilisk. It is a Trigger. Also, shout out to Maru for actually holding onto those scans. If you recall, I was saying how, hey, if he muled too hard, if he muled too much, then DTs would shut him down. But Maru, he was intentionally holding onto at least 1 scan, and once he realized there were DTs, he had 3 available to him. He had those 3 just when he needed them. Did shut down the DTs. Meanwhile, it's time to proxy. Okay, it's Maru's turn. Here we go. We're going for the proxy racks here on the right hand side. We'll see if Trigger scouts. Does he scout in this area? Does he scout in this location? Oh boy. Oh, my apologies. He skirts around the edge of the map going for the eBay. The Rax is actually back at home. So Rax is back at home. The SCV gets scouted and the eBay is denied. Nice moves here by Trigger. Nice moves. He does deny the eBay. And Trigger will expand. Again, if he failed to see the SCV, then the eBay would have been thrown down and Trigger would have been forced to expand at the 3rd location instead. And we've seen many a Protoss attempt and fail to defend that 3rd location. Strum here going to force a cancel, and Trigger can expand. There's a cancel. There's the expansion. Meanwhile, big shout out to Sian in the chat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the raid. I hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. Fala galera, papi. Fala galera. Bom dia, papi. Bom dia. Good to see you. Good to see you, papi. Sian. Welcome to Rongyi Cup. Welcome, welcome. It's covering Rongyi Cup. Here we have once again Maru going for his tech lab follow-up in towards Marauder, just like last game. The goal here is to punish any kind of attempt at harass at the natural, and this can lead into a 2nd, 3rd, or even 4th racks. I'm leaning more towards like maybe a 2-1-1, or maybe like 3 CC 3 racks. No Shuddy does the same build 2 games in a row, right? Show us a 3rd CC. Backing up those minerals. Getting up to 400. And there it is, 3 CC 3 racks out of Maru. This time a hyper greedy build as the follow-up of a Marauder. Okay. Now, there are some pros and there are some cons to this. Maru is going to be very vulnerable, very vulnerable to 4-gate blink. Why is that? Well, because as he does attempt to catch out the Stalker, but because he's going for a faster CC, he's going to have a very late factory, because he should have extra Raxes after this as well. So late factory, late tank production, a weaker defensive setup here for Maru until Stim finishes. Once Stim finishes, then he can hold, but pre-Stim, he's going to be vulnerable. You know, the armies do clash, trading 1-to-1. Stalker does recall back home. Now the problem here is that Trigger hasn't seen the main. He doesn't know what's going on, and the opener is just like the last game. Marauder, right? It could be Marauder into a 2-1-1, or into a 3 racks, into a 4 racks, or into 3 CC. There are a lot of options here. There are a lot of options to what it could be. And Trigger, at least currently, is unaware. We have 2 gates in the main. No, okay, blindly going for, okay. He's blindly going for the 4 gates. He has potential. So 4 gate blink here by Trigger. Trigger, he can punish. As we mentioned though, pre-stim. Like he has to hit pre-stim. Once stim finishes, then Maru, he can hold his own. He's getting a safety bunker here on the low ground. There is a window for Trigger. Where's the prism? Okay, prism's on the way. War prism is coming. Here from the natural. I think this is going to be too late. Stim is going to finish. Yeah, Stim will complete. Now, despite Stim finishing, like, there's still potential for Trigger, but Blinks will be punished. If he blinks up into the army, then Maru, he can just Stim everything and focus it down. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. We'll see if Trigger can pull this off. Stalkers are moving in. Again, that's a lot of Stalkers. He can dive into the main base. Stim is done in 5 seconds. 2, 1. Stim finishes. If he blinks in, Maru, he will punish. And Trigger blinks down to low ground. Okay, nice pick up. Gets the bunker. Bunker goes down. Picking up some SCVs. A very delicate micro here by Trigger. Getting 5 SCVs so far, not bad. Getting up to 8, 9. And 9 SCVs go down. Does force out the first stim. Ooh, catching out 2 Stalkers. And Trigger has to get out. He has to get the hell out of here. Once again, they're picking up more SCVs. Ooh, Prism goes down. But this army is becoming overstimmed. Trigger, can he focus on these Marauders? There's 2 left. Down to 2. Oof. Down to 2 Marauders. And yes, Maru, he does hold, he does survive, but he lost 13. 13 SCVs went down. Hefty losses for Maru. At the same time, the 3rd base was delayed for Trigger. Now, what is scary here? On the one hand, yes, Maru, he lost 13 SCVs, but remember, what was Maru's build? It wasn't a 3 racks, it was 3 CC 3 racks. He had extra SCVs. That's why, despite losing 13 workers, the worker disparity here is actually quite small. As Maru, he had workers to spare. He could afford to lose them. Once again, trying to trade with the army. Ooh, catching out a Stalker. The Marauders are getting very low, though. Getting very low. 3 Marauders getting picked up. That's 3 Marauders. Maru, he does keep pushing. 3rd CC is now on location. And Maru, he has held. At this point, he has held, he has defended. I say that Trigger is still rallying across the map. Colossal production has begun. God, there are so many Marauders. Yeah, a couple of boys are being pulled once again. Diving on the Stalkers. Trigger, he does pull away. Does pull away. Again, this entire time we've seen no medevacs here just because of the delay in the starport. But they finally arrived. Now Maru, he can stim more freely. Now he can stim. Speaking of. Ooh, Trigger's getting called out. He should not be here. Leading out a Stalker. 3 Zealots. Trigger reinforcing with the Colossus. Maru, he wants a Colossus. Oh no, he wants it. He's gonna get it as well. Yeah, massive overextension. Again, Trigger, he should not be here. No, like this. No, once the medevacs were revealed. Once they were revealed, that was gonna be the end of the aggression, and Trigger, he will lose everything. The Colossus, the Stalkers, the Zealots. Ay, ay, ay. Hefty losses for Trigger. Hefty losses back. As he's trying to reinforce with another Colossus, but again, there's not really much of a buffer here. Yeah, Maru, he sees weakness, he goes to the dive. And he gets a Colossus once again. Oh no, he doesn't. Oh my god. One more shot. One shot away from going down. The Colossus survives. Okay, Trigger, he takes a fight. He takes a better fight. He punishes Maru at the same time. Wouldn't mind drop here into the natural. Oh, quick reactions. Quick reactions, let's pull away in time. And we're getting messy. We're getting messy. Upon saving the Colossus, now we can start to build up. Oh, I spoke too soon. I spoke too soon, Pappy. Colossus goes down. You know, Maru, he breaks through all the Zealots. Catching out another Stalker. Yo, let's go. We pull the boys. Get out of here. Calm down, Trigger. Calm down. Hi, Pappy. As again, Trigger, he's still not letting up. I feel like Trigger, he's been attacking, pushing into Maru for the past 10 minutes. Essentially, it's been for the past 8 minutes, just been in his face, trying to end it. He's been trying. This time there are Vikings though. They punish the Colossus. Colossus goes down. As Trigger, he does get into the middle line, gets 8 SCVs. Takes that 8 SCVs, but these have been some rough losses for Trigger. Every time just losing Colossus after Colossus. At no point in this game have we seen 2 Colossi. It's only been 1, because they just keep dying. They just keep getting caught out. And now you can see the supply disparity. Again, Maru, he's just been too efficient. He's been far too efficient here. Maru, he's had the better economy for almost the entire game due to his opener. Now he's getting his 4th CC. And the longer this game goes, the worse it's going to be here for Trigger, unless he's able to do something about the economy. War Prism sits in, but it's going to be a one-way trip. Prism goes down. Stop cursing, Trigger. True. Hey, he's got 2 Colossus. He's got 2, Pappy. Let's go. Bearing in mind that Trigger, he lost his War Prisms, no reinforcements, no juggling. Trigger has to get the hell out of here. The Colossus are exposed. No, he's gonna lose 1. Yeah, Maru, he just sims in. He sims in, he gets 1, he gets both Colossi. And with that, Maru takes a much more decisive fight. At the same time, 11 SCVs go down. Trigger, he does deal some economic damage, but Maru, he might not stop. He might not stop this time. Maru, he breaks out. Trigger back at home. He's trying to warp in Zealots. Going for his own Prism counterattack. And for the first time this game, Maru, he gets across the map. He breaks out, he pushes out. Gets himself the 4th base. There's no defensive Colossus. Oof. Takes down the expansion. Trigger, he was already behind economically, and now he's forced onto 4 bases, and even base count with the Terran. Trigger now switching into disruptors. Drop into the main. Can we deny +2? He can. And +2 is going to be denied. Massive pickup. Oh my god, the nice +2, the nice warping the Artosis pylon. Everything gets depowered. It's all depowered in the main. Not like this. Maru, he's almost maxed out. He's just tearing a Trigger apart. As Trigger, he's out of position. He cannot defend his fourth. The fourth will go down. GG gets called, and Maru, he will take the series 3-0 and advance on to the grand finals. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations, Maru. He will claim the series, but a shout out to Trigger, because Trigger, even though he goes down 3-0, game one was very clutch. Game one was very close. Game one was very clutch. I would say the game one was the game of the series, but outside of that, game two and game three were a little bit more in favor of Maru. Game two, Trigger, he had potential with the DTs, but Maru, he was able to strike first, and he held on to scans. Maru, he was attentive to that, so he made sure he had scans available, so DTs were not good enough. Meanwhile, here in game three, we saw Maru went for a hyper greedy build, and Trigger, he attempted to punish, and it was doing okay initially. Remember, he killed 13 SCVs. That wasn't too bad. He killed 13 workers to try to even things up, but then he kept pushing. Like Trigger, he was hyper aggressive this last game. He was never giving Maru any room to breathe. That is true, but he was just taking worse fights. Like Trigger, despite the non-stop aggression out of Trigger, he was just, every time he engaged, losing Colossus after Colossus after Colossus, losing all of his Zealots, losing his War Prism, losing his Stalkers. These were expensive losses here for Trigger, and he couldn't sustain himself. He couldn't sustain his own aggression. He was just trading too poorly. He was trading too poorly, and over time, Maru was able to overwhelm, build up his third, his fourth, and outscale Trigger. GG. GG, well played. But with that, congratulations to Maru, and now we have our two finalists. It's going to be Hero versus, not Clem, Hero versus Maru in the grand finals. Let's go, baby, let's go. It's going to be a GSL rematch, a GSL finals rematch from last year. Coming into this again, Hero, I would still say, is the favorite player. Like, you could make an argument right now that Hero is the best player in the world. I've spoken about this a couple of times, but over the past 2 months, what has Hero achieved? Hero, he won the RSL offline finals in December. Hero, he won Thunderfire, which was a couple of weeks ago. Hero, he won the OSC Season 13 Championship, and now Hero is here in the finals of Rongyi Cup Season 3. Like, in all the premier events over the past 2 months, like, Hero has been winning them. It's crazy. It's like he's just winning everything. So is the streak going to end? Is Hero finally going to be shut down and finally not going to win an event, or is Maru going to take it? We'll see. We shall see. The pressure's going to be on Maru. We'll see if that streak ends here in the Rongyi Cup finals. That'll be tomorrow. That will be tomorrow. Of course, the one event that Hero didn't win was Home Story Cup, but he didn't go. Like, Hero didn't go to Home Story Cup. That's the one event that Hero didn't win. As that was, of course, last weekend. And alas, we'll see. We'll see how Hero and Maru do compare in the finals. Again, that'll be taking place tomorrow. When it comes to other events over the next, couple of weeks, and over the next couple of weeks and couple of months, we of course have RSL Season 4. RSL Season 4 is around the corner. Pigsty Festival is also around the corner as well. Those are the next like 2 big events. Maru TvP is kind of disgusting. I don't think anyone has it figured out quite like him. Maybe, I mean, I still do favor Clem's TvP. They're just very different kind of players. And again, like, for example, like Creator had a really strong showing. I could see a world where we have a Creator versus Trigger instead of Trigger versus Maru, right? If you see here on the bracket, like, Maru, he barely took down Creator in that best of 5. Barely took him down. But I do agree that, like, Maru and Clem, they're very different in their approach. I would say I would kind of look at game 1 as an example of that, right? Game 1 was Maru being hyper defensive, and that's kind of like one of his biggest strengths, of course. Game 2 and game 3, what I did appreciate out of Maru is that he mixed it up, specifically in game 2. Remember, game 2, Maru, he went for a 2-base all-in. 2-base all-in out of Maru in game 2, so he did go from one extreme to the other. And then in game 3, we had Maru once again kind of taking that more defensive stance. And I feel like Maru has maybe the best defensive play in TvP at the moment. You saw that in game 1 and in game 3, whereas Clem, I want to say, is a little bit more active in the mid game. At times he's forced to be defensive. That's kind of like the meta when it comes to TvP, but Clem is typically a more active player, and that's kind of where he does thrive, in his ability to pull defensive Protoss players apart and be active, aggressive, be on the map with drop play, with counterattacks. Yeah, very different styles. It reminds me a little bit of, like, I guess maybe Reina and Serral, or yeah, I guess it's the case with all the top players, right? Like when I think of the top 2 Zerg players in the world, I think of Reina and Serral, and they're also a little bit similar in the sense that like Serral's a little bit more like macro oriented, and Reina's a little more active. He's a little more active and aggressive and multi-pronged aggression sort of thing. It is similar with the top 2 Protosses with Hero and Classic, where I would say that Classic has the better late game than Hero does, for sure. Like Classic has the best late game PvZ and PvT, but Hero, he's a little more successful, you know, and a little more dynamic in the mid game and even towards the late game as well. And it's almost similar here with Clem and Maru as well, where they're like the top 2 Terran players, and also like they have their own strengths and weaknesses. I do appreciate that, actually. I appreciate that when it comes to the top Zergs, Protoss, and Terran players, the top players, they're very different to each other. Like they're like stylistically they're quite different, which always makes them a lot of fun to cover and cast. But GG, well played. Again, we're going to be getting ready for the next series, or for the finals. That'll be tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be Hero versus Maru. We should be casting it live. I'm a little bit on the fence about it. You can see our schedule here. Originally it was scheduled for around 10 p.m. KST or 11 p.m. KST, but we found out that Rongyi Cup is a multi-esports event. There's a lot of esports, a lot of finals happening on the same day, and I believe Valorant is going to be occurring before the StarCraft finals. So the start time for Hero versus Maru tomorrow is going to depend on when the Valorant finals finishes. So if it's a fast finals, then Maru and Hero, they'll start earlier. If it's a long finals, then they'll start later. So it kind of depends on how fast or how slow like the Valorant finals is. So because of that, the start time for Rongyi Cup tomorrow is going to be a little bit shaky. It's going to be a little bit more dynamic as to when it begins. And because of that, we might be able to cast it, we might not. If it starts too late, we won't be able to. If it starts a little bit earlier, if it starts on time, we should be able to cover it. But it's going to be one series. It's going to be just the finals, best of 7, Hero versus Maru. Let's go, baby, let's go. But again, that is going to be tomorrow in over 24 hours time. So look forward to it. Do look forward to it. Meanwhile, when it comes to Sunday, you can see that currently Sunday is empty. We should be casting on Sunday. We're going to be covering Thunderfire. Thunderfire Day 2 is going to be on Sunday. And the Thermal 2v2 circuit is going to be Sunday evening. We don't cast that, but we do admin. We do run the event. That's going to be in the evening on Sunday. That's going to be the February monthly tournament. So do look forward to that. Look forward to it. When it comes to the rest of our schedule, we are going to be casting Home Story Cup. Home Story Cup, the replays, we're going to be covering that next week. We'll be beginning that next week. We also have, of course, Pegasus Cup, but we have Tuna Cup. The return of Tuna Cup is going to be next week. Wardy TV Mondays, RSL qualifiers are also next week. True, we spoke about that, but when it comes to the big events on the horizon, we have the Pigsty Festival qualifiers, and we have the RSL qualifiers as well. So RSL is going to be starting up next week. And again, those are kind of like the big events on the horizon, is RSL and Pigsty. Bearing in mind we have Star Zagora. Star Zagora is going to be in March. True. March the 21st is going to be Bellum Gens Elite Star Zagora 2026. And I think that's all we have scheduled currently. When it comes to future events this year, I think we can confidently say that SC for All, the LAN event in the Americas, that most likely is going to continue. So expect to see some more SC for All, for example. That'll be a lot of fun. Expect the next Home Story Cup towards the end of the year. You know, two Home Story Cups a year is kind of what we expect. So like halfway through, if not towards the end of the year, should be the next Home Story Cup. What else? I think that's everything that's on my mind currently. Like maybe a potential SC2 safe house, depending on how the NA scene is feeling at the moment regarding that. And I want to say there's like another Chinese event on the horizon as well. Like again, shout out to SCBoy. They've been devoting a lot to StarCraft this year with Thunderfire, with Rongyi Cup, with Kung Fu Cup. True. We know the Kung Fu Cup is coming back as well. Do we get another Masters Coliseum? We'll see. But much love to SCBoy. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. Again, we're going to be back tomorrow in over 24 hours, potentially with the final day of Rongyi Cup with the grand finals. I say potentially because again, it does depend on when the event begins and how late it begins as well. Otherwise, we'll cast it via replays. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. You can help support us. You can help support us over on Patreon if you wish. !Patreon in the chat. Our Patreon does fund our tournaments, and again, Tuna Cup should be returning next week. Should be back. Should be getting back into the swing of things. Likewise, if you see something that you like here, and if, for example, if you missed out on Clem versus Trigger, if you missed out on Creator versus Maru, if you missed out on some of these other matches, YouTube is the place to be. All of the VODs are over on YouTube under the live tab. It's all there under the live tab. So check out those VODs on YouTube. Do catch up on Rongyi Cup before we get into the finals tomorrow. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much for the support. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for those finals. See you then, papi. See you then. Until then, ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego.